seed for the ministry here? I guess it was planted many years ago before I even came to the United States by members of the host congregation, Immanuel Lutheran Church, back in 1906, I believe.
I've been part of Immanuel for 54 years since I was married. When I first joined here, it was a fairly thriving Lutheran church. There was about, I guess, 150 to 200 people. Very nice. Over time, I don't know, it just seemed like we lost a lot of our members. A lot of them moved and went on, you know, got older and died, and we had kind of reached a point where there was hardly anybody here.
I like to say my aunt literally took my hands and brought me to the Lutheran church, and she did that by enrolling me in Lutheran school, elementary school, and that's how I was introduced to Lutheranism and became very interested in the church. And that went on until the Civil War broke out and we went to exile as refugees in Ghana. And in Ghana, there was need to bring the refugee community together as a worshiping community.
In 1996, I met Pastor Dennis in the refugee camp on Buduburum. And at the time, he was in high school. Yeah, so it's a long story. At the time, he was in high school, and we had a Lutheran congregation. We used to meet on the camp, have service, go from home to home for prayer meeting every morning. And he was quiet, nice, hardworking, always evangelizing, you know. So we became friends.
A couple of the members who lived with me on the refugee camp, and we started that church together. And when we were resettled to the United States as refugees, and when they heard we were doing ministry here, I visited a couple of them.
We decided to meet at my house in the afternoon time, pray, fast, pray for God's direction. And God was very, very, very wonderful to us. He began to give us revelation. We began to have dreams about the ministry. And God led us to the ministry.
We didn't want to close the church. We didn't want it to be an empty building because it had reached a point where we could not afford to pay a pastor. We could not afford to keep up the, you know, everything that was going on in the church, the expenses. And I was treasurer for many years. I know the expenses were terrible. And so we went to the Senate to ask about was there anything they could do for us and help us. So they asked us if we would be open to having a pastor, and he would come in as a full-time pastor for us, which we hadn't had in a million years. So they said that they would send him in to help us in the church as a full-time pastor for us, and he would attempt to open a mission church for Africans.
When we started, there were 7 of us in prayer meetings, and within the first month we went around 25, and the first worship service was held July of that year, the first Sunday of July of that year, and we had about 70 people in worship. And eventually we've grown to now about 160 in worship on Sunday morning.
It's the whole handful. That we can no longer handle them because there are so many now. So many. I can't even call all of the members' name. I don't know all of the name.
I came here first on a Christmas Eve event with my father, and my uncle invited us, and we just decided to join the congregation. And from there to now, we've been here.
So I've been actually looking for a church, and I passed faith, whenever I came into the neighborhood. And one New Year's morning, I just decided I was going to come. The sign outside said services at 9 o'clock, so I came for the 9 o'clock service. Met Pastor in the narthex, and he told me a little bit about the church. So I stayed for the first service, and then he said that the first service was a traditional Lutheran service, which I was used to. And then he said, there was a African contemporary service in the afternoon. So a couple hours later, so I just stayed and stayed all day. And that's how I got connected with faith.
The welcoming, they were really welcoming when I came. It got me hooked from the very first day when I visited the church. One of the things I like about the church is the music ministry. That's my passion. The music ministry is one of most ministry that draw people in here.
I like the way the service is here, the activities we do, the people, and Sunday is just fun to come to here. So that's what keeps me here.
But he has also tried to have a separate service for us because his African service is a little different than what we were used to. We were used to the sadio, the really slow, all the stuff that they do in the regular Lutheran service. And they're much more energetic in their service.
Watching Africans at worship is a very exciting thing. The knowledge of the Bible, the fact that they want to share the Bible. I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot. As a Christian, I've grown a lot in my understanding.
There's prayer meeting and there's counseling, and we've gotten to a point where there's only 5 or 6 of us now that come. And so it's hard, and we're welcome at anything we want to come to,
I think the host congregation has been very open and receptive. We sometimes participate in worship services together. I think they want to keep a strong relationship and a strong bond, This is their home. They want to continue keeping it as their home, and it's just that their family has grown bigger.
The glass opening in the front is a sign of welcome that this is the community church. And we host a lot of ministries here.
We really help the community. We have the Girl Scout coming in twice a week. We have summer camps as part of our community outreach.
I have 2 favorite places to be. I like to be at school and at church.
It's an encouraging growth experience, and the church really encourages you to grow and get deeper in Christ and get deeper in your knowledge of the Bible.
I still got most of my family in Liberia, but got a church family. So.
Listen, Greer, worthy to be praised this beautiful evening here on CBBN Radio. Our many listeners there around the world, to be specific in Africa, we also want to welcome you to the broadcast, and we're going to be playing some beautiful gospel music for you this beautiful day here, and of course, as time progresses today, we hope to bring you a conversation with the pastor. This is CBBN coming to you from 65 Penn Boulevard, East Lansdowne in Pennsylvania, and of course, we're located at Immanuel Lutheran Church. The intent of this radio is basically to create a voice, a medium of communication for the community of Africans who have migrated to this part of the United States, making sure that we can collaborate to create a cohesive environment in not only preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, but also seeking social justice causes in this part of Pennsylvania.
I brought the question up about what would the new church be, and somebody told me it was obvious it had to be Faith Immanuel. There was no way we could celebrate faith. There's no way we could separate Faith and Immanuel. So the new name would be Faith Immanuel Lutheran Church, because there's a long history, and I always told the members of the new church that had the folks who are here not being here to keep up the work, we wouldn't have had a place to begin. And so I tell them, just as Immanuel left a legacy, we too have to leave a legacy for the future church that will continue to do ministry here. Obviously, from the start, there were 3 partners: the Senate, Immanuel Lutheran Church, and of course, ELCA. And those 3 partners have really been part of the story.
And for that, I want to say thank you to the Senate, thank you to the Bishop, thank you to the Pastor Davenport for giving us this opportunity. And also thank the whole ELCA for helping us. I mean, to keep a pastor this long, it has been a blessing to us. I mean, we thank God for them every day.